The sky turned red that Tuesday morning, not the soft red of sunrise, but the burning red of fire. Massive ships broke through the clouds, dark and sharp against the flaming sky. They moved without sound, which made them even more frightening. On the largest ship, Fleet Commander Daho stood tall, looking at the blue planet on his view screen. His gray skin reflected the blue light from Earth, making his normally stern face look almost gentle. But there was nothing gentle about why he was here. "Begin the first attack," Daho ordered. His voice was calm, as if he were asking for a cup of water, not starting a war. The Dazor ships released smaller fighter craft. They flew down to Earth's major cities with terrible speed. Earth's military planes rose to meet them, brave but doomed. The Dazor fighters cut through Earth's defenses like a knife through paper. In just 6 hours, the Dazor had taken control of New York, London, Beijing, Moscow, and 20 other major cities. Humans had good weapons, but the Dazor had better ones. Much better. Daho watched it all from his command chair. He had conquered 3 other planets before. This was just one more job to do. "Sir, we have secured the main targets," reported Officer Minho. "Earth's leaders are asking to talk." "No talks," said Daho. "Send in the ground troops. I want control of all resources by tomorrow." Lieutenant Ji-Soo, head of reconnaissance, led the first team to the surface. Her job was to study the humans up close and find their weaknesses. She landed in what was left of Seoul after the first attack. The streets were filled with broken buildings and scared people. Ji-Soo's team moved through the city, their weapons ready. The humans mostly ran away. Some fought back with small guns that couldn't hurt the Dazor battlesuits. Then Ji-Soo saw something strange. A human man was helping an older woman walk through the ruins. The woman was slowing him down. In Ji-Soo's world, you left behind the weak. But this man was risking his life to save someone who had no value in battle. "Watch that human," Ji-Soo told her team. "Why is he helping the old one? It makes no sense." As they watched, more strange things happened. Humans were sharing food. They were helping each other out of crushed buildings. A group of them made a human chain to pull a child from under a fallen wall. Ji-Soo recorded everything. This behavior was not in any of the Dazor studies about humans. Their reports said humans were violent and selfish. These humans were working together, helping the weak ones. When Ji-Soo returned to the ship, she showed her findings to Daho. "These humans act in ways we don't understand," she said. "They protect those who cannot fight. They share food even when there isn't enough. They put themselves in danger to save others." Daho frowned. "It is a weakness we can use against them. If they care so much about each other, we can control them by threatening the weak ones." But Ji-Soo wasn't sure. Was it really a weakness? The humans working together had saved more lives than if they had each tried to save only themselves. As night fell on the first day of the invasion, Daho sent orders for the next attack. But for the first time in his long military career, he felt a small doubt. Something about these humans was different from the other species they had conquered. "Tomorrow we take full control," he told his officers. None of them noticed the slight hesitation in his voice. On Earth below, the humans prepared for another day of fighting. They did not know that they had already planted a small seed of confusion in the mind of their enemy, not with their weapons, but with their humanity. By the end of the first week, the Dazor had set up control centers in every major city on Earth. The once proud human cities now had alien ships floating above them like dark clouds that never moved. Captain Hanbin was put in charge of the Seoul Control Center. He had served under Commander Daho for 12 years and was known for getting things done. Hanbin set up his command post in what used to be a government building in the center of the city. "Sort the humans by their skills," Hanbin ordered his team. "Workers go to the labor camps. Anyone with science or medical training goes to the research centers. The rest will help gather resources." The Dazor soldiers moved through the city, scanning each human and sending them to different places. Children were separated from parents. Friends were torn apart. The old and sick were put in holding areas, with no clear purpose yet. Science Officer Sun Mai arrived at the Seoul Center with her team. She had short gray hair and large yellow eyes that missed nothing. Her job was to study humans up close, to learn how they could be better controlled. "I need 10 healthy humans for testing," she told Han Bin. "I want to understand how they think." Han Bin nodded and ordered his men to bring the humans. When they arrived, Sun Mai was surprised. One young woman was carrying an old man's bag for him, though she had her own heavy bag too. "Why do you carry his things?" Sun Mai asked the woman. The woman looked confused by the question. "He is old. His back hurts. Why wouldn't I help him?" Sun Mai had no answer. In Daezor society, the old were respected for their knowledge, but never helped physically. If you couldn't carry your own things, you lost the right to have them. In another part of the city, Han Bin watched as humans were loaded onto transport ships. A small boy was crying, looking for his mother. No one paid attention to him until a woman stopped, bent down, and spoke softly to him. She wasn't his mother. Her skin was a different color, and she spoke with an accent. But she picked up the boy and carried him, though it slowed her down and might get her in trouble. Han Bin was about to order a soldier to separate them when he paused. He remembered what Lieutenant Jisoo had reported about humans helping each other. He wanted to see what would happen. The woman carried the boy all the way to the transport ship, whispering to him the whole time. By the time they reached the ship, the boy had stopped crying. The woman had given him hope, something the Daezor had tried to take away. That night, Han Bin reported to Commander Daho. "The humans continue to show strange behavior," he said. "They help each other even when it brings them no benefit. They share food even when they have little. They comfort strangers." Daho frowned. "Are they organizing resistance?" "No, sir. It's not planned. It seems to be their natural way." Daho thought for a moment. "Double the guards at night. I don't trust this behavior. It makes no sense, so there must be a hidden purpose." But as Han Bin left the meeting, he wasn't so sure. He had conquered people on 2 other planets, and none had acted like the humans. Other species fought or gave up. Humans did something different. They held on to their humanity even when everything was taken from them. Back in her lab, Sun Ma studied brain scans of humans. She noticed something interesting. When humans helped each other, their brains lit up in patterns of pleasure. Somehow, these strange creatures felt good when they were kind to each other. It was like nothing she had seen in any species before. The conquest of Earth was going as planned. But something unexpected was happening too. The Daezor were beginning to notice that humans had a strength they hadn't counted on. It wasn't in their weapons or technology. It was in the way they treated each other. 3 weeks after the invasion, the Daezor thought they had won. They controlled the cities, the food, and the water. But they were wrong. A different kind of fight was just beginning. Taiwan had been an engineer before the aliens came. He was smart with machines and good with people. When the Daezor put him in a labor camp, he watched and learned their patterns. One night, when the guards looked away, he slipped under a fence and escaped. But Taiwan didn't run away to hide. Instead, he went back to the city to help others. He found old subway tunnels that the aliens didn't know about. He turned them into safe places where people could rest and plan. "We can't beat them with guns," Taiwan told the small group that gathered in the tunnels. "But we can beat them by staying human, by helping each other when they want us to be selfish, by sharing when they want us to fight over scraps." More people joined Taiwan each day. They shared food. They passed messages. They helped people escape from the labor camps. It wasn't a normal resistance with bombs and attacks. It was a resistance of small kindnesses that the Daezor couldn't understand. Among those who joined Taiwan was a woman named Zhu Yun. She had been a doctor before the invasion. Now she ran a secret medical clinic in the tunnels. She treated the sick and hurt without asking for anything in return. One rainy night, Zhu Yun was coming back from treating a sick child when she found something unexpected. a hurt Dazor soldier in an alley. He had fallen from a roof and broken his leg. His name tag read Q1. Ju Yun's first thought was to leave him there. Why help the enemy? But then she remembered her promise as a doctor. Help all who are suffering. She bent down beside the alien. I'm going to help you, she said slowly. The Dazor looked at her with confusion in his yellow eyes. In his world, enemies killed each other. They didn't help each other. Ju Yun made a splint for his leg using pieces of wood and cloth. She gave him some of her water. Then she helped him sit up so he could call his people on his communication device. Why? He asked her before his rescue team arrived. Why help me? I am your enemy. Ju Yun thought about it. Because you're hurt, and I can help. That's enough reason. She left before the other Dazor arrived. But Q1 didn't tell them about her. For the first time, he had seen a human up close, not as an enemy or a worker, but as a person who chose to be kind when she could have been cruel. Back at the Dazor Command Center, Captain Hanbin was getting strange reports. Humans were escaping the labor camps, but they weren't attacking or hiding in the mountains. They were going back to the cities to help other humans. It makes no sense, Hanbin told Commander Dao. They risked their freedom to help others get free. Some even share their food rations with strangers. Dao frowned. They must be planning something bigger. No species acts this way naturally. But Hanbin wasn't so sure anymore. He had watched the humans for weeks now. There was something about them that was different from any species the Dazor had ever conquered. That same day, Q1 returned to duty with his leg healing. He didn't tell anyone about the human doctor who had helped him, but he started to watch humans differently. He noticed a mother sharing her small piece of bread with her child. He saw an old man giving his blanket to a young woman who was cold. Small acts, tiny moments of being human. But they were starting to tear at the perfect plan of conquest. Not with weapons or violence, but with something the Dazor had never expected. Compassion in the face of cruelty. 2 months into the occupation, Commander Dao noticed something strange happening with his troops. The Dazor soldiers who spent the most time among humans were changing. It started with small things. A soldier gave water to a tired human worker instead of punishing him for slowing down. Another helped an old woman carry heavy boxes. Some soldiers even started to use human gestures. A nod of the head, a wave of the hand, a smile. What is happening to my soldiers? Dao asked during a meeting with his officers. Captain Hanbin spoke carefully. Sir, the soldiers who work closely with humans are adopting some of their behaviors. This is unacceptable, Dao said. Rotate the troops. No soldier should spend more than 1 week with the humans. But it was too late. The change had already begun. In her laboratory, Science Officer Sunmei made an important discovery. She had been testing human blood samples when she found something unexpected. Humans release a chemical called oxytocin when they help each other, she told Dao. This chemical makes them feel good. It rewards them for being kind. How does this affect us? Dao asked. Our bodies respond to it too, Sunmai said. When we are near humans who are helping each other, our bodies make a similar chemical. It's changing how our people feel. Dao was shocked. No one had warned him that humans could affect Dazor biology. This was more dangerous than any weapon. Meanwhile, in the labor camp, Q1 was guarding a group of human workers. Since the human doctor had helped him, he had been watching humans closely. Today, he saw a young boy trip and drop the rocks he was carrying. The boy looked terrified, expecting punishment. Without thinking, Q1 bent down and helped the boy pick up the rocks. Then, even more surprisingly, he felt something on his face. He was smiling. He had never smiled before. Later that day, Q1 saw Ju Yan among the workers. She had been captured while helping sick people in a hidden part of the city. Their eyes met, and she recognized him as the soldier she had helped. Neither said anything, but something passed between them, an understanding. That night, when no one was looking, Q1 left an extra blanket by Ju Yun's sleeping area. He didn't know why he did it. It made no sense according to his training, but it felt right. In another part of the city, Captain Hanbin was walking through a food distribution center when he saw something that stopped him. A small human child, maybe 6 years old, was offering half of her bread to a Dazor guard who had been standing in the rain all day. The guard looked confused. Then, slowly, he took the bread and ate it. The little girl smiled up at him, not seeing an enemy, but just someone who was cold and wet and hungry. Hanbin watched as the guard knelt down to be at the child's level. It was against all protocol. Dazor never lowered themselves to speak to conquered species, but there he was, a trained soldier, talking quietly with a human child who had shown him kindness. That evening, Hanbin went to see Sun Mai in her lab. "Are we catching something from them?" he asked. "A disease." Sun Mai thought before answering. "Not a disease. Maybe something else. Humans have emotions we don't have names for. Empathy. Compassion. These aren't in our language. Can it be stopped?" Hanbin asked, but his voice held a strange note. He wasn't sure he wanted it stopped. "I don't know," Sun Mai said, "but I'm starting to think these emotions aren't a weakness, as we've always been taught. They might be a kind of strength we never understood." As night fell over the occupied Earth, more and more Dazor were lying awake, experiencing feelings they had never felt before. Some were frightened by these new emotions, but others, like Q1, felt as if something long buried inside them was finally coming to life. 3 months into the occupation, Commander Daho called an emergency meeting. The reports from all over Earth told the same story. His soldiers were changing, and not for the better. At least not according to Dazor military rules. This human influence must be stopped, Daho told his officers. From today, all soldiers must wear full face masks when dealing with humans. No more direct contact. No more conversations. "But sir," Captain Hanbin said, "that will make it harder to control them." "I don't care," Daho snapped. This cultural contamination is worse than any resistance they could mount." New orders went out. Dazor soldiers were to be rotated every 3 days. No one was to speak to humans except to give orders. The labor camps were to be run with strict rules. No mercy, no exceptions. Meanwhile, in her laboratory, science officer Sun Mei made a discovery that shook her to her core. She had been comparing Dazor and human DNA, looking for ways to better control the humans. Instead, she found something impossible. "They match," she whispered to herself as she looked at the screen. The basic patterns match. It made no sense. Dazor and humans came from different worlds, millions of light years apart. Yet their DNA showed similar patterns in key places. It was as if, long ago, they had been the same species. Sun Mi kept this discovery to herself. It was too dangerous to share, even with Hanbin, whom she had come to trust. In the Seoul Command Center, Hanbin was facing a difficult choice. A group of human workers had been caught sharing food with children who were not on the work roster. The new rules said they should be executed as an example. Hanbin looked at the humans, a man, 2 women, and a teenage boy. They didn't look like dangerous rebels. They looked like people who couldn't watch children starve. "I won't do it," Hanbin said to his second-in-command. "Find them work in another camp. Say nothing of this." But word got back to Commander Dao. That evening, Hanbin was arrested for disobeying orders. He was to be sent back to the main ship for punishment, possibly execution. As Hanbin was being led to the transport ship, something unexpected happened. A group of humans, led by Taiwan, attacked the Dazor guards. They didn't use guns or bombs. They used noise and confusion and quick hands. In the chaos, they pulled Hanbin away and disappeared into the maze of tunnels under the city. "Why did you save me?" Hanbin asked Taiwan when they were safe. "I am your enemy." Taiwan looked at him steadily. "Are you? Still? Really?" Han Bin had no answer. He didn't know what he was anymore. That night, in his quarters on the command ship, Daho woke from a strange dream. He had been dreaming of his childhood, of a time before he went to the military academy. He had been playing with other children, laughing. In the dream, he felt happy. But Dazor weren't supposed to feel happy about such things. They were supposed to find satisfaction in duty, in conquest, in following orders perfectly, not in play or laughter or friendship. The dream disturbed him deeply. Was he being infected by human emotions too? Was no one safe? In the tunnels below the city, Zhu Yun was treating Han Bin's injuries from his arrest. Q1 had secretly joined the human resistance, bringing medicine and information. He watched as Zhu Yun gently cleaned a cut on Han Bin's face. "Does it hurt?" she asked. "Yes," Han Bin said, "but not the cut." He placed a hand over his chest. "It hurts here. I don't understand what's happening to me." Taiwan put a hand on Han Bin's shoulder. "You're becoming more like us. Or maybe you're remembering what your people were like before." "Before what?" Han Bin asked. "Before someone taught you that feelings were wrong," Zhu Yun said softly. "Before someone told you that caring for others was weak." Han Bin closed his eyes. Something was breaking inside him. The wall that had kept his emotions locked away his entire life. And though it hurt, there was a strange relief in the breaking too. 4 months after the invasion, the unthinkable happened. A group of 20 Dazor soldiers, led by Q1, removed their helmets in the middle of a labor camp. They put down their weapons and announced they would no longer follow Commander Daho's orders. "We will not treat humans as enemies anymore," Q1 told the shocked workers. "We see now that the conquest was wrong." News of the rebellion spread quickly. More Dazor joined them each day. They were called the Broken Ones by those still loyal to the command ship, but the rebels called themselves the Awakened. Captain Han Bin, now fully recovered from his injuries, became the leader of the Awakened. He worked with Taiwan to create safe places where humans and rebel Dazor could live together. "Why are you helping us?" Taiwan asked Han Bin one day as they planned how to free a labor camp. "Because I've seen how you treat each other," Han Bin said. "Your kindness, your willingness to help even strangers. These things were beaten out of my people long ago. But being around humans has awakened something in us, something that was always there, just sleeping." On the command ship, Commander Daho was furious. Nearly 100 of his soldiers had now joined the rebellion. He called Science Officer Sun Mi to his quarters. "What is happening to my troops?" he demanded. "Is it a virus? A poison in the air?" Sun Mi took a deep breath. It was time to share what she had discovered, even if it cost her life. "It's not a virus, sir. It's our own DNA." She showed him the results of her research. Humans and Dazor share genetic patterns that are too similar to be chance. "I believe, long ago, we were one species." Daho stared at the screen, his yellow eyes wide with shock. "That's impossible." "The evidence is clear," Sun Mi continued. "And there's more. I found artificial changes in our DNA, changes made on purpose. Someone altered our genetics to remove our capacity for certain emotions. Empathy, compassion, love. Those weren't naturally lost. They were taken from us." Daho sat down heavily. "Who would do such a thing? Why?" "I believe it was our own leaders, generations ago," Sun Mi said. "People without empathy are easier to control. They make better soldiers. They follow orders without question." That night, Daho couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about Sun Mi's discovery. Had his entire species been changed, their true nature buried deep in their DNA? Were the Awakened actually becoming what Dazor were always meant to be? Meanwhile, in the tunnels beneath Seoul, Zhu Yun and Q1 were developing a translation system to help humans and Dazor communicate better. They had grown close over the weeks of working together. Their friendship was something new for both of them, a connection between species that were supposed to be enemies. "In my language, we have no word for friend," Q1 told Juban. The closest word means useful ally, but that's not what you are to me. What am I to you? Juyan asked. Q1 thought for a moment. Someone who makes me feel whole. Someone who reminds me that I am more than a soldier. Their work on the translation system helped the resistance group grow stronger. More humans joined every day, and more Dazor defected from Daho's command. Han Bin called a meeting of all the rebel leaders, both human and Dazor. They gathered in an old subway station, lit by small lights that cast long shadows on the walls. We need to tell the world what's happening, Han Bin said. Not just here, but everywhere. All humans need to know that not all Dazor are their enemies, and all Dazor need to know that they can choose a different path. Taiwan nodded. We'll use the old radio towers. We can send a message that will reach every corner of Earth. What no one in the tunnel knew was that at that same moment, Commander Daho was receiving a message from the Dazor homeworld. The High Command had learned of the rebellion. They were sending reinforcements. A battle fleet led by Admiral Yungai, the most ruthless commander in the Dazor fleet. Their orders were simple: sterilize Earth and bring all Dazor home for reprocessing. A new fleet of Dazor ships appeared in Earth's sky 1 month later. They were bigger and darker than Daho's ships. They moved into position around the planet, like hunters surrounding their prey. Commander Daho received a direct communication from Admiral Yungai, the leader of the new fleet. Commander Daho, you have failed in your mission, Admiral Yungai said. His face showed no expression at all. The High Command has ordered me to clean up your mess. You will return all Dazor to the ships immediately. Then we will remove all life from this planet. Admiral, there must be another way, Daho said. The humans are not what we thought. They have infected you with weakness. Yungai cut him off. You have 3 Earth days to gather your troops. Those who resist will be terminated along with the humans. After the call ended, Daho sat alone in his quarters. For the first time in his long military career, he questioned his orders. The thought of destroying all life on Earth, billions of living beings, filled him with a feeling he had never experienced before. He believed it might be what humans called horror. Daho called for Sunmei. When she arrived, he asked her, "Can you prove what you showed me about our DNA being changed?" "Yes," she said. "The evidence is clear in our genetic code." Would other Dazor understand it? Even those who haven't been around humans. Sunmei thought for a moment. The facts are simple enough, but understanding why it matters, that might be harder for those who haven't experienced emotions. Daho made his decision. Gather all your research. We're leaving the ship. That night, Commander Daho and Science Officer Sunmei left the command ship in a small transport. They flew to Seoul, to the area where the rebel Dazor and humans were known to hide. They were captured as soon as they landed. Han Bin himself came to question them. "Why are you here?" Han Bin asked his former commander. "To warn you," Daho said. "A new fleet has arrived. Admiral Yungai plans to destroy all life on Earth in 3 days." The news spread quickly through the resistance. Humans and rebel Dazor gathered in the old subway station to hear Daho speak. Many didn't trust him, but they knew the new ships in the sky meant trouble. "The High Command fears what is happening here," Daho told the crowd. "They fear it because they've been hiding the truth from us for generations." Sunmei stepped forward with her research. She explained how Dazor DNA had been changed to remove emotions, to make them better soldiers and more obedient citizens. "Being around humans has awakened what was sleeping in our genes," she said. "We are remembering how to feel." Taiwan stood up. "But how does this help us against a fleet ready to destroy our planet?" It was Ju Yun who answered. "If being around humans awakened feelings in the Dazor who invaded, maybe we can do the same for the new arrivals. They won't come down to the surface," Q1 said. "They'll attack from orbit." Taiwan's eyes lit up with an idea. "Then we need to bring humanity to them. He turned to the group. Earth's strongest satellites are still working. What if we broadcast human culture, our music, our art, our stories, directly to their ships? It wouldn't be enough, Hanbin said. They would ignore it or block the signals. Not if it came from Daho's command ship, Daho said, surprising everyone. I still have the access codes. If we can get back on board, we can use the ship's communication system to send a message no Dazor ship can block. The room went quiet as everyone realized what Daho was suggesting. He was offering to turn against his own people, to commit what the Dazor would see as the ultimate betrayal. Why would you help us? Hanbin asked. Daho looked around the room at the humans and Dazor working together. Then he remembered his dreams, the feelings that had been growing inside him. Because I think we were wrong, he said simply. And I don't want to be wrong anymore. The plan was dangerous but simple. Daho, Sun Mai, Hanbin, and a small team of humans and rebel Dazor would sneak onto Daho's command ship. They would use the ship's powerful communication system to broadcast to every Dazor in orbit around Earth. What will we send? Tawan asked as they prepared for the mission. The truth, Daho said. Sun Mi's research about our DNA. And the best of humanity, Ju Yun finished. Music that makes people cry. Art that makes them feel wonder. Stories that show love and sacrifice. They worked through the night. Ju Yun and Q1 collected videos of children playing, of people helping each other after disasters, of families reuniting. Taiwan gathered music, everything from classical pieces to simple lullabies. Sun Mai prepared her scientific data in a way that even non-scientists could understand. The next morning, they made their move. Using Daho's codes, they boarded a small transport ship and approached the command vessel. For once, being Dazor worked in Daho's favor. The ship's security systems recognized him and let them dock without question. We need to get to the main communication center, Daho whispered as they moved through the quiet corridors. Most of the crew will be sleeping at this hour. They'd reached the communications center without being spotted. Sun Mai immediately went to work, connecting their prepared message to the ship's broadcasting system. This will go out to every Dazor ship in orbit, she said, and to the ground forces too. Just as they were about to start the broadcast, the door slid open. A group of armed Dazor guards stood there, weapons raised. Commander Daho, the lead guard said, Admiral Yungai ordered us to watch for your return. You are under arrest for treason. Daho stepped forward. I am not committing treason. I am trying to save our people from a terrible lie. Start the broadcast, Hanbin whispered to Sun Mai. We'll handle this. As Sun Mi's fingers flew over the controls, Daho continued speaking to the guards. Did you know that our ancestors changed our DNA? He asked them. They removed our ability to feel certain emotions. They made us into weapons instead of people. The guards looked confused, but their weapons remained steady. You won't trick us with human lies, the lead guard said. At that moment, Sun Mai pressed the final button. Screens all around them lit up. The broadcast began. First came Sun Mi's scientific data, clear, simple explanations of how Dazor DNA had been changed. Then came the human content. A mother singing to her baby, children laughing as they played. An old couple holding hands after 50 years together. People from different countries working together after a flood to save strangers. The guards watched, weapons slowly lowering as the images and sounds washed over them. On ships throughout Earth's orbit, Dazor stopped what they were doing and stared at screens that suddenly filled with human life. Some tried to turn away, but found they couldn't. Something in the images called to something deep inside them. Admiral Yungai was furious when he saw what was happening. Cut the transmission, he ordered. Prepare to fire on the planet immediately. But many of his crew weren't responding. They stood frozen, watching the broadcast, expressions of confusion and wonder on their faces. In the communication center, the lead guard put down his weapon. What is this feeling? He asked, touching his chest. It's empathy, Daho said. It's what they took from us. What humans helped us remember. Across the fleet, confusion spread. Some Dazor responded with anger, trying to shut down the broadcast. Others felt something new awakening inside them, questions they had never thought to ask, feelings they had never been allowed to feel. Admiral Yumgai, seeing his crew's hesitation, decided to take matters into his own hands. He stormed the weapons control room. "I will destroy this planet myself if I have to," he growled. But as he reached for the firing controls, he found his path blocked by his own officers. "Sir," one said, "we need to think about this." "Think," Yumgai roared. "We don't think about orders. We follow them." "Maybe," the officer said quietly. "That's been our problem all along." 1 year after the failed invasion, Earth looked very different. The Dazor ships no longer hung in the sky like dark threats. Some remained, but they were now places of learning and cooperation, not weapons of war. Admiral Yumgai had been arrested by his own officers when he tried to destroy Earth against their wishes. The news of what had happened on Earth spread quickly through the communication networks back to the Dazor homeworld. The truth about the genetic manipulation shocked the Dazor people. Their government, which had controlled them through fear for thousands of years, collapsed within weeks as more and more Dazor began experiencing emotions they had been denied for generations. On Earth, the work of rebuilding had begun. It was not easy. Many humans still feared and hated the Dazor for the invasion. Many Dazor still struggled with their new emotions, sometimes becoming overwhelmed by feelings they didn't know how to handle. Sunma led a team of human and Dazor scientists who worked to help the Dazor understand their emotions. They created classes and support groups where Dazor could talk about what they were feeling. "Today we will talk about sadness," Sunmai told a group of Dazor who had once been soldiers. "This is a natural feeling that comes when we lose something or someone important to us." A former guard raised his hand. "Sometimes I feel pain here," he said, touching his chest, "when I think about the humans I hurt during the invasion." "Is that sadness?" "That's a special kind of sadness called guilt," Sunmai explained gently. "It means you understand now that what you did was wrong. It's painful, but it's also a sign that you're healing." All across Earth, humans and Dazor were working together. The Dazor had advanced technology that helped clean Earth's air and water. Humans taught the Dazor about art, music, and how to handle their new emotions. Hanbin and Taiwan led the rebuilding efforts in Seoul. They turned former labor camps into homes and schools. They showed others that humans and Dazor could not just coexist, but become friends. Q1 and Juyun continued their work on the translation system. They created a new language that combined Dazor precision with human expressiveness. They also created something else, the first romantic relationship between a human and a Dazor. "Our children might look at us strangely," Juyun said one day as they walked through a park that had once been a battlefield. "We are strange," Q1 said with a smile. "But maybe being strange is good. Maybe it shows a new way forward." Daho had the hardest journey. As the former invasion commander, many humans would never forgive him. He understood this and did not ask for forgiveness. Instead, he worked tirelessly to help both species understand each other. "I came to conquer Earth," he told a group of human and Dazor students. "But Earth conquered me instead, not with weapons, but with something my people had forgotten: the power of compassion." 5 years after the invasion, a special ceremony was held in what had once been the Seoul Command Center. It was now a university where humans and Dazor studied together. They called it Unity University. The ceremony marked the first graduation of human Dazor exchange students. 20 humans had spent a year on the Dazor homeworld. 20 Dazor had lived with human families on Earth. Daho, now much older and walking with a cane, gave the graduation speech. "We came for conquest," he told the gathered crowd, his voice strong despite his age. "But we stayed for humanity. We thought we were teaching you our superior ways. Instead, You taught us what we had lost, how to feel, how to care, how to be more than just conquerors. He looked out at the faces, gray Dazor skin next to human skin of every color, all turning toward a shared future. I look at you, the first generation to grow up knowing both human kindness and Dazor wisdom, and I see hope, not just for Earth or for the Dazor homeworld, but for the entire galaxy. As the sun set on the ceremony, humans and Dazor stood together under Earth's sky. Some held hands, some sang songs. All of them proved that the strongest force in the universe wasn't technology or weapons or conquest. It was humanity, not the species, but the quality. The ability to feel, to connect, to care for others as much as yourself. In the end, that was the power that had saved two worlds.